Hello and welcome back to another episode of Diablo to D&D. My name is David, and today we're going to be going over the consumables in Diablo. So there are a handful of consumable items, most of them are potions, but a handful of consumable items that Diablo gives you to use on your adventuring journey. Some of these are used fairly frequently. See Antidote potion against Andariel and Thawing potion against Duriel. Your mana potions, your healing potions, and a whole bunch of other things that help ease you through at least the initial part of Diablo. It was actually pretty easy to transfer things from Diablo into D&D. Now, the balancing might need some tweaking, but overall the mechanics were actually very, very simple. But let's jump right into the first part of this. Actually, before I begin, I would like to, because I'm doing this off of memory, so while I'm thinking about this, let me talk about the things that I did not transfer over. If you go to Diablo2.io and go to the miscellaneous items, where I'm drawing a lot of this information from, you'll see that there are a ton of items. The runes themselves are going to be a different video. Gems I've already covered. I'm not touching the quest items at all. That's going to be a whole other thing. Not touching crafted items, and then the miscellaneous items. Those are all, the portals and the gold and like the chipped gems, the classifications of things. Also the consumables, bolts and arrows. Those are already in D&D. Keys, I'm not going to even bother with it. And then the Tome of Town Portal, the Tome of Identify, those are basically just collections of scrolls. So I'm not going to touch those either. And then the Scroll of Identify, I thought about doing it, but I realized that D&D already has a spell scroll, and Identify is already a spell. So it's just a scroll that casts Identify already. So that's basically it. Scroll of Town Portal, I'll get into that in a little bit. Going over to the potions, the basic potions, the healing potions, those are already in D&D. I'm not going to touch those, but everything else, pretty much everything else, is going to be a part of this video. So let's start with the throwing potions. In the previous video, when I did the shrines, the exploding shrine threw out a bunch of potions and created some for you to use. So it's kind of a high risk, high reward sort of thing. Take a little bit of damage, but now you have potions that you can use. So I went to the, if you go to the bestiary, the Panther Woman, the ones from Act 2 that throw potions at you, that's basically what I pulled from. The DC and the damage. I modified a few, I tweaked some things between everything to make them all consistent, but this is what I ended up with. The exploding potion is actually 3 potions in one. Exploding is just the category, kind of like healing potion or potion of healing. It's an adventuring gear. Its cost is currently null because there's 3 different levels of them. They all weigh 1 pound, and they're damage, combat, consumable, utility for the tags. The effect is you can throw this potion up to 30 feet and it shatters on impact. Each creature within 5 feet of where the potion lands makes a dexterity saving throw. On a fail, the creature takes fire damage. And then the table shows the DC and amount of damage for each type of exploding potion. So that table below it, the fulminating, exploding, and oil potions, they tell you how much GP it costs, the DC, and the damage. Pretty simple to understand. Now, this is somewhat based off of the Alchemist's Flask, or Alchemist's Fire. However, the cost is going to go up because the damage has gone up. And, okay, I'm going to say something. I don't get Alchemist's Fire. It is so freaking expensive for so little. You get 1d4 damage, and you can end it by making a DC 10 dexterity check. It's 50 GP. If you're spending, this is like 50 days worth of rations, not rations, 50 days worth of expenses for, I think it's like moderate, like lifestyle. I'm not spending 50 GP on 1d4 damage. I mean, okay, technically, I guess what it really comes down to is like, do you want to spend 50 GP to deny somebody an action? Because they have to take an action to end it. But then you're giving up your action, and I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. So these exploding potions are way more powerful. They're starting at 2d6, and they go up by 2d6 every time. The DC is 14, starting at the lowest one, and then goes up by 2 as well. And, by the way, this is an area of effect. It's a 5-foot radius, which means you can hit up to 4 creatures if you put it right in the center of a 2x2 square. You could also do it as a 1x1, drop it at somebody's feet, and it blows up there. Because it is better, much better than the Alchemist's Fire, the cost is also going to be much higher. But this is how they work. You equip a potion, you throw it, and it deals a little bit of fire damage. I think it also does some physical damage as well, but I didn't really want to handle that. So, anytime you translate something from one medium to another, you're going to lose a little bit of energy, laws of physics and all that. All right, so let's jump into the poison gas potion. This is basically the same thing. You can throw it up to 30 feet, shattering it on impact. Everybody within 5 feet of it makes a Constitution saving throw. You take poison damage, but in this case, it is half as much damage on a success. The difference between the exploding potion and the poison gas potion is that the poison gas potion deals less damage and has a lower DC. In fact, it goes 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 as you switch between the potions. And then it's D4s for the poison gas potion rather than D6s for the exploding potion. The reason for this is because the poison gas potion has guaranteed damage, whereas the exploding potion is a higher DC and more damage, but it's an all or nothing. As for the other items that I've created, instead of being adventuring gear, which the exploding potion and the poison gas potion are, to bring them in line with that Alchemist's Fire, these are magic items. We are going to start with the Antidote potion. This is a common item. This is intended to be something that you can pick up from a street vendor or something that is just really common. And its effect is pretty simple. When you drink this potion, you are no longer poisoned. For 1 minute after drinking, you gain resistance to poison and cannot become poisoned. This is this is kind of what the Diablo potion does. It gives you 50 resistance and increases your maximum poison resistance. So it's, not exactly the same, but it's still pretty good. Now, keep in mind, this is very similar to the potion of resistance that is already in D&D. The reason why this is a common and not an uncommon item is, one, because antidote potions are just everywhere, but also because this is a 1 minute resistance rather than a 1 hour resistance. So you're going to be spending a little bit more on chugging these antidote potions if you're going into a den of spiders or whatnot. Now, for the mana potion, there was some balancing issues that I am not entirely comfortable with. These are of variable rarities, very much like the potion of healing in D&D. They're consumable, but they regain spell slots. And this is where things get complicated, because how do you regain spell slots in a non-broken manner? So I have a table. Your minor potion is common, and it restores 2 first-level spell slots. I'm not entirely sure if that is balanced, but it's what I'm working with right now. Your next level is light. It is uncommon. It restores up to 2 second-level spell slots, or 4 first-level spell slots, or any combination of those, up to the total level of 4. Regular is rare. This is when you start to get very, very powerful. It restores 6 points total levels worth of spell slots up to a maximum of 3rd level, so 2 3rd level spell slots. Your Greater Mana Potion is very rare, and it restores up to 4 points and up to a maximum of 4th level. And then your Super Potion is legendary, very, very, very rare, very powerful, and it restores up to 10 points or 10 levels worth of spell slots up to a maximum of 5th level. Now, like I said, all of these are entirely up to balancing changes because restoring spell slots is very, very, very powerful. Part of the problem that I'm working with is that there are only 5 levels of rarity in terms of magic items. You have common, uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary. The only other rarity level is artifact, and I don't think super potions are worthy of being an artifact. So I'm working here. I probably could cut this down to the total spell levels of 1 to 5. That might be good, or like some other calculation, but I don't know. I'd love to have feedback on this. Now, for the Rejuvenation potions, these are very powerful. They're a combination of health potions and mana potions. In Diablo, they restore up to 1/3 of your hit points and 1/3 of your mana. But translating that into D&D is very difficult. However, thankfully, the mana potion that I just went over kind of gives me a framework for something that I can use. The regular potion, or the regular Rejuvenation potion, is rare because it's so powerful, and it restores 6d4 plus 6 hit points, kind of in the middle between some of the potions of healing in D&D. It restores 2 spell slots up to a maximum of 3rd level. So this can restore a ton of hit points and up to 2-3 level or level 3 spell slots. Now, something that I did actually have to consider is half-casters, because your spell slots are much more powerful at those levels. But also, half-casters are both martials and casters, so the spells don't always scale properly. So, again, there's some balancing issues, but that's kind of what I'm doing here. The full Rejuvenation potion in Diablo restores you to full hit points and full mana all at the same time. The mana potion and the healing potions, they restore the points over time. Rejuvenation potions are immediate. So what I've done here is HP regained is all, number of spell slots restored is all, and it restores up to a spell slot level of 9. So it puts everything back together. This is very, very, very powerful, and, maybe that needs to be an artifact, because super potions, super mana potions, that goes up to 5th level, so it's way more powerful. Anyway, but let's move on to the last few of the potions. The stamina potion is a common potion. It's very, very easy to use. It helps reduce exhaustion. When you drink it, you lose 1 level of exhaustion, and then for 1 minute after drinking, you cannot gain levels of exhaustion. It's a common magical item. It's not going to be useful in all cases like potions of healing would be. So I think it's fine to just hand out as you will. Now, in the right circumstances, yes, it can be very powerful, but also, if you're going for a forced march, yeah, that's one thing. But otherwise, it's not going to be as useful. So, common magical item. Now, the Scroll of Town Portal is an uncommon magical item. This is not something that D&D already has. It kind of does with Magic Circle, I think. But Magic Circle works the way that lodestones, is it lodestones? Where there is or waypoints, that's the word, where there is a set teleportation place that you can teleport to. And that works, but Scroll of Town Portal is a Scroll of Town Portal. And I wanted to have it a little bit more, to have a little bit more utility than just you can teleport to major hubs. So what this one does is it produces a portal to a town that you have visited in the past month. The portal lasts until the end of your next turn. So you can open it up, everybody piles through, maybe one or two monsters follow you through, but then, your heroes just kill them. Or, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe, actually, it would be funny. Popping open a town portal into like a major city and then pushing the big bad guy through so that suddenly they're inside an area with a bunch of armed guards around them that could just dogpile on them. But yeah, if you really want to do something like that, go for it. But that's the Scroll of Town portal. Fairly simple, and yeah, it's uncommon. It's going to be a little bit rarer than your useful potions, but definitely something that is very handy to use. All right, the last item is the Thawing potion. Much like the Antidote potion, this is 1 minute resistance, in this case to cold, and this prevents additional effects from cold damage. So for example, like frostbite. It's not exactly worded that way, and I might have to get the wording down properly. But in this case, it's intended that when you take cold damage, you don't take any other effects. What I specifically said is if you would suffer additional effects from taking cold damage, you ignore those effects. It's Frostbite and Ice Bolt and those other ones. They're not exactly additional effects contingent on taking damage, but I mean, I could say something like if a spell or ability would deal cold damage and have an additional effect, you only take the cold damage. I guess that could work, but I mean, it's a wording issue. But that is everything. It's pretty simple stuff. There's not a lot of complexity to this. Some balancing things with the mana potion, with the rejuvenation potion, but overall, it's fairly simple. And yeah, there's not much else in Diablo to adapt. I mean, I've not gotten to like the keys for unlocking Uber Tristram and the new Reign of the Warlock. Yeah, Reign of the Warlock. With the Warisk's End and Bolcathos' Nightmare and Korlik's Pain, Modic's Ire and Talik's Anguish, the Worldstone Shards and whatnot. I've not even gotten to Charms. Oh my goodness, I did not realize that. Charms might be something that... Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. I don't know if I'm going to be doing Charms either. Anyway, while I'm not doing those just yet, that is some fascinating stuff that I might have to do later. Anyway, yeah, this is it. What do you think? This is pretty simple. Some stuff that I can see people bringing in and adapting to their non-Diablo games. The Scroll of Town portal, fairly useful. The minor potions, Antidote, Stamina, and Thawing potion, basic D&D stuff. It's fairly simple that you can weave into your own games. The exploding and poison gas potions, maybe not. Is it worth it? Is it not? I'd love your feedback on all of this. But I am going to end it here. You can contact me at XenosFan2, that is XENOZFAN2 on Blue Sky and Reddit. And you can contact the channel directly at DiabloTODND on Blue Sky and YouTube. Thank you much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good whatever.